All right, well, here we are. Two Dudes and Killer Tunes, episode 10.
Yeah.
How we doing over there, Neil?
What up, episode 10?
Look at there, 10. What up, 10? Best player on the team, always wore number 10.
Messi.
And because we wanted the best here, we got my son, Avery Kaliszewski, is with us. Avery, thanks for joining us. It's awesome to have you with us. I think we've talked about it for a while. I think we've had it scheduled 2 or 3 times, but here we are, finally doing it, right? So, before we get started, there was a couple orders of business I did want to take care of. We are recording, what is it today, July 21st, and actually we lost one today, Mr. Tony Bennett. 96 years old, obviously an icon, and I believe the oldest winner of a Grammy.
Rest in peace.
Yep. R.I.P.
Rest in peace. I agree.
And the other shout out actually is to our episode 7 guest, if you remember, John Shack. Mm-hmm. While we were recording, he decided then and there he was going to incarceration in Ohio, Mansfield, Ohio. And him and his son Nathan ended up going there, and I'm happy to report that they actually survived the full 3 days.
Nice.
So, and had an absolute blast. And there's actually a couple of videos out there on some of our socials. Make sure you check them out.
Yeah, and if you don't know anything about the incarceration, I think Limp Bizkit was there.
Limp Bizkit was the key. That's why we went.
Oh gosh,
Pantera, I believe, was there. Bush. There's a good video of Nathan actually crowd surfing while Bush is playing in the background. It's pretty cool.
So it's just like a festival?
yeah, and actually, so it's incarceration, so it's INK, so it's like a tattoo and music festival. Mm-hmm. And they call it that because it's actually held at a prison, like that they don't use anymore, obviously, but the prison that it's at was the one that they used for the filming of Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, cool. Which,
I'm sure all 10 of our viewers have seen Shawshank at least 35 times. It's on, I think, almost every other night. So, but if you haven't, one of the lucky few, check it out. Right? I mean, how often is that movie on TV?
But yes.
Not to get off on a tangent, Shawshank was actually, I believe, written by Stephen King.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The horror writer. So, that's interesting. Very versatile. Kind of like a lot of the musicians we listen to nowadays, right? So, which is why we're here, right? Actually, I did want to mention one other thing. I forgot. Just a quick shout out. Episode 5 guests, the Black Note Graffiti, were on. And actually, they just finished, I think it was last weekend, opened up the Upheaval Festival in Grand Rapids. And I saw some footage and pictures of it. It looks like they opened it. They did their job. They got everyone kind of pumped up, ready to go to start that thing off. And that was another 3-day festival in Grand Rapids, which we'll get to later, right, Abe? We went to Grand Rapids for a show.
Which one was that?
That was actually Greta Van Fleet. Remember at the Deltaplex.
Uh-huh.
We went down there in March of 22. So that was the second show that actually we both saw when we came back from the lockdowns with COVID.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the first one, if you remember that one. It was in February that year at LCA.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
He might be wearing the shirt. It might not be. I don't know. So anyway, as we get started here, one of my standard questions always to the guests is, why is live music so important to you? And then I'm going to ask you also a part B.
Okay.
Obviously, Killer Tunes is the other part of the thing, and try to think about maybe one killer tune from one of the shows you've seen that you remember. There's just like, oh my God, like the most memorable moment. Mm-hmm. And it kind of puts you on the spot, so if you can't think of it right away, that's okay. We can always come back to it. All right, cool, awesome. So I'm fire away, man.
Well, I think it's important for live shows to be held, just because I think it's good for people to come together. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think just being in a big space with people all happy, singing along to people songs that you like, just good.
I agree 100%. I mean, we've said it a million times. It brings people together, all walks of life. You know, it's so funny. You can be at a show and you see someone like from your normal life, right? That you would never expect us to be at a show like that. And then, but like you said, it's all walks of life. It brings everyone together.
Yeah.
Which Neil, you know, kind of brings me back to whenever we've gone in the past, there's always a group. You know, and that's always what we've talked about. Y'all go together, you know, you're all amped up, ready to go before you're there having a good time, and then you're already reminiscing on the way home and everything. So it's a huge part of it. So back to the second question then, as far as the killer tune.
So definitely during the Tyler the Creator concert, he ended it with New Magic Wand. And that was single-handedly the best song performance I've ever seen in my life. It was great.
Good.
So...
we'll get into that one a little later, and I know I've mentioned it, you know, probably on a handful of shows now. And we'll talk more about that one. The other thing, you know, obviously you're my son, so I've watched you kind of evolve over the years, like with your music and stuff. It was funny. It just kind of hit me the other day that you remind me of me, actually. You know, like when you were growing up, like music wasn't that important to you.
Yeah, I don't
Not
really
that you
care.
disliked it, but you're indifferent to it, right? And I remember that's exactly how I was, right? You know, and then it was actually Paul, my brother, and I always think maybe Kennedy in a way a little bit with you. The only thing I knew, though, was you didn't like my music.
Yeah, no, not
So
at
you
all.
didn't really like mine at all, but everything else you were indifferent.
Yeah.
But, like, when I was younger, then all of a sudden, you know, Paul would be like playing something, like, hey, what's that? You know, so I'd pick up this or that. And, you know, Kennedy obviously is, you know, like an encyclopedia of music. So, you know, I realized that just the other day. I mean, is that an accurate?
No,
you know?
I'd say for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then over time, it seems like you've started, you like, and that was the thing is once I went to a live show, that's when like all of a sudden I realized how important music was to me. Like I started getting into it, but then once I went to that first live show, I was like, oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah, so was that when you...
Yeah, I think like the 1975 is probably that for me.
Yeah, okay.
Because that was like the first concert where like I actually knew the band. You know what I mean? And like listened to them before.
Right.
So,
Rather than just a couple songs on the radio or in my car when I'm trying to force you to listen to it.
Yeah.
No, it's true. I can honestly, like, if you will, be in your seat, you know, like, oh, why am I listening to my dad's music? You know, I just want to, you know, listen to my own music. And then actually going to the concert and be like, oh, yeah, this is what jams,
Do you remember kind of with you, like, you know, when the point was where you were like, man, music is, it's something different, you know, and did like someone like Tommy maybe influence you and stuff?
I would absolutely say my older brother Tommy and his buddy Mike always listened to like Morrissey and the Smiths, and everybody's gonna be like, boo, they stink. I'm
Love
like,
them.
whatever, dude.
Love
you
'em.
can like and love who you want, but
One of your Forever Five?
no.
I don't know. We might have to go back to episode 4. I think he might have declared it then, along with REM. We'll have to pull up the footage.
Well, recall. Well,
We know number 1 was Sting.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, yeah, probably absolutely my brother and his buddies. You know, they're a huge influence on my music taste and whatnot. So
Yeah, and then
REM for sure. But
oh yeah, we've talked about them. I've actually started following them on socials more, and they, you know, just pull. It's amazing how long ago that was.
Yeah.
I mean, like 40 years.
Yes.
Plus, it's insane.
Yes.
So, do you remember your first concert? Because you were pretty
Vaguely.
young. You were like 5
Vaguely.
years old.
I remember the end the most because they played mine and Kennedy's, each of our favorite songs to end the show. So once again, the ending was the best part.
It always is. Well, usually.
Yeah.
And also you get that random killer tune in the middle that's like a rare one that they just decide to play because Detroit's the best, right?
And then I remember seeing them.
Yeah.
We saw them like rehearsing, right?
Yes. Yeah, so it was Rusted Root. And so this was more of like a dad trip, you know? And because I hadn't seen Rusted Root in a long time, but they were playing in Cincinnati. So it was actually all 5 of us. We made the road trip down.
Elena too?
Yeah, Elena was
Oh,
with
wow.
us. We made the road trip down. But the agreement was we were going to go down there, hang out downtown, get a nice dinner, go to the show. And on the way back, the next day, we had to stop at the outlet malls. Remember, on the way back? So as long as, there was, we'll do that and we'll do this, and then it was good. So we made the long trek down there. And Cincinnati was super cool. I don't know, have you ever been down there, like in downtown, just hanging out?
No.
And that was a long time ago, obviously, because you were 5. But no, it was cool. We, got the room. We walked, made reservations. Really cool seafood restaurant. And then we're walking back to the hotel to just kind of unwind for a bit before we go to the show. And we walk by, and you can hear this music. And just like this door propped open, like no handle, right? So I go and I look in, and it's Rusted Root doing their sound check and everything.
Oh, no way.
And then, we had the 5 of us, we're going back, and we'll just go back, But so bad, just wanted to go and see, if you could catch a peek, but whatever. But yeah, it was super cool. You guys got your first merch, you and Kennedy.
Yeah.
The Rusted Root shirts.
Oh.
One had red, one had green.
I had that Big Data shirt, didn't I?
That's from when we went to
Fits in the Tantrums. Yeah.
So, well, that was the one I think we're going to get to next. So I've actually been a Fits in the Tantrums fan for a little while now.
Mm-hmm.
High energy. I like their songs.
They're a damn good band.
Just kind of fun. And it was the middle of the week. It was downtown at the Fillmore. And it was Fits in the Tantrums, and Big Data opened up. Mm-hmm. And we had the seats with the little table.
Oh yeah, that was
nice. The lounge. So there was a
that.
total of 6 seats. So it was us 4 and some rando couple that we didn't know that clapped super loud. Never heard the loudest clapper I've ever heard in my life at that show. I'm not sure if Guinness was there. If they were, it would have been documented. But so we get there. And it's me, Emily, Kennedy, and Avery, and we walk in, and, I'm not a huge merch guy, but, you go get the merch first. And remember what the Fitz shirt was? It was, dark blue, and it had the heart, in neon lights. So Kennedy gets it's in her size. That's the one Avery wants, and they don't have his size.
I was livid.
And that ruined his night. From there, 5 seconds after we walked in.
I've been there, Avery.
And I'm trying to make him. So you can get a bigger one, you'll grow into it, or they had Big Data. And it was just glasses and I'm I actually like that one better anyway, And at that time, I only knew that one song by Big Data called Dangerous.
Mm-hmm. That's still the only song I know by them.
Let's be honest. Yeah. It's the only song I know by them. I have 2 Big Data songs on my rotation, and it's the same song, just a remix.
I was going to ask who the hell Big Data is, but whatever.
In fact, that's the one I should have put at the end and the playout. Maybe we will. Who knows?
Yeah, switch it out.
But the one thing, which was my fun fact of the day, was at the Fits in the Tantrums show. So you had Big Data open up, Fits in the Tantrums. Neither artist had a guitar in their band. They had bass, both of them, keyboards, drums, and stuff, but neither one actually had a guitar, which blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. The lady in the Fits in the Tantrums band, she had a tambourine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that was pretty cool.
Yep. And like I said, it was high energy. Actually, I think probably the killer tune for me there would be Money Grabber. I always love that song, But,
I remember I ended up falling asleep on that couch at one point.
You did.
Yeah.
Yep, you laid down, you took a nap, and it was fine.
I minded my business.
Yeah.
Fine.
I've taken naps at concerts, too. It's okay.
You were 8 years old. So, you did your best. It's
I was 22.
Believe me, we've all taken naps. Let's be honest here. Yours was probably just a more peaceful, relaxing sleep than ours were.
A little more innocent.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, we talk about, obviously always the best shows that we've seen or best songs. Do you remember the one show that you didn't enjoy that much?
I'd probably have to go with the Jack Johnson concert that I was dragged to.
Yeah. So, yeah. And we talked about this with episode 2, guest John Doring, because that's who we went with, right? I remember, I think I drove, It was the three of us. And I like Jack Johnson. I love a lot of his songs. Super chill.
I like his Pancake song.
Yeah. And I think that's from Curious George, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. He always tries to play those Curious George songs earlier in the set so that parents would bring their little kids. And they probably don't do that anymore because that movie's like 20 years old. But he always used to, in case they wanted to get him out of there or whatever. But I really like him. But just Pine Knob was too big. I dragged you there. I'm like, dude, come on. He's great. And then I'm like, man, it's not what I was,
Did John at least enjoy
John's a huge fan. He's seen him after, but
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, John likes him.
And
I mean, I don't mind Jack Jackson.
I don't mind him at all. It's just
I like some of his songs. It was just
it was too big.
Yeah,
it was too big, and it was fun, and it was. I don't like him enough where I'm just going to go and sit out, hang out, and relax. You know what I mean? You got to do something.
I agree.
So but now we went.
I remember
go to another one.
And
you know what? We've seen Jack Johnson with Ben Harper.
Yes,
we've seen them together actually do songs and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I do enjoy them. It was just and I don't know if some of it too is the bad memory from trying to get the hell out of Pine Knob.
Oh my God, that was awful too.
It literally took us like an hour and a half because we got there and then you're all the way in in the back corner and then you're around these trees and there's like you're in no man's land at that point. It was an hour and a half. I think we got home like 2 a.m. But you were gonna say what was the highlight?
I remember
when we finally got out of the parking lot.
I remember we like walked away from like the actual like while he was performing, and I remember I got fries, and they were really good, and that was the best part of the concert. Were those fries?
Were the French fries? Just regular French fries, no cheese.
I'm pretty sure they were just regular with ketchup.
Yeah.
Ketchup.
Yeah. All right.
I think they were kind of almost like the steak cut with like the skins on the end and stuff or whatever. Yeah.
French fries could almost like cure any
blues
that you might have.
It made me feel a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, if you were hungry, it probably didn't help your, might not have been doing the best dad duty there either. You hungry? Yeah, you're fine. But you did. So the one you did mention, and I would say I do agree with you. I think this was the one where you kind of got like, 1975, which was another road trip for you. So, I mean.
That was in Ohio, right?
That was in Ohio, and that was 2017,
yeah.
Early June of 2017, so just before your birthday. So you would have been 10 at that point, still about ready to turn 11. So you were still pretty young, when you think about it. But that was, Neil, we've talked about before Kemba Live. And you and Kennedy were like big 1975 fans. I knew a few of the songs just from you guys would be playing them and stuff, and they're really good.
Yeah, they are.
And they're actually coming in October on Halloween this year to Little Caesars Arena, I believe.
I remember we talked about that.
I will not be going to that because I'll be trick-or-treating. I'm on GAMP duty. So
with Rames?
But what I do, so that's one of my favorite venues of all time. It's because it's so small. I mean, and you remember we stood up at the top, which Kennedy was so mad about when we talked to her on the show. But like I said, you were 11, which means she was only 13. I mean, we're not going to let you go down on the, the main.
I remember I was actually kind of scared because like all the people, and it was very like, I don't know, it was just pretty intense. There's a lot of
a lot of people in a little area.
I got scared,
right? And you got like,
I bet.
Well, that's where we went to Smashing Pumpkins, and you kind of have the bar area, and then you come out, and then all the merch, and everyone's all over, and then you got the hill and everything. So it's a lot of people and stuff packed in there.
I was very happy with where we sat.
Yeah, well, because we had the railing, and we let you and Kennedy kind of like stand up there, and we were like, maybe like 20 yards away. So it was like you guys almost had your own little experience together.
Love it.
And actually, I think I still have some pictures of me, you, and Kennedy when we're sitting there waiting for our Uber to get back to the hotel. But that was a really good show. And if that wasn't on Halloween, I think I might actually think about going to that. But
I haven't listened to a lot of their new stuff, but like some of their songs I really like.
Yeah, I did see a story not that long ago. Was it the lead singer or whatever, and something about raw meat on stage?
Oh, yeah. He ate a raw steak on the stage while he was performing.
Yeah, it was something
That's
very
good for you, by the way.
He's kind of weird.
It's good protein. Very good protein. Mm-hmm. Just don't do it with chicken.
Yeah. You get salmonella.
So,
you could die.
The 1975 kind of got you into your thing, right? Mm-hmm. So you didn't do anything since then, before COVID hit. Mm-hmm. So over those last couple of years, but so after COVID, though, I think we were all ready.
Yeah.
And I remember you and Kennedy both, but more, I think you were even more hyped. We're like, which I knew you were serious. You know, you're like, me and my friends want to go to Tyler, the Creator. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. And then Kennedy's like, well, me and my friends want to go, and I'm going to drive. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So then it ended up where, so Kennedy had a carload with her friends, and then I drove you and your friends down to LCA. We parked in the garage. And at first, I wasn't going to even go in. I was just going to hang around or whatever. And then me and Mom talked, said, just buy the worst ticket ever, go in there, and that way we're at least in the same building. But I mean, you guys were completely on your own once you went in.
That was fun.
So I want to hear about it, because I know.
Yes, let's hear it.
You know, when we got in, I mean, you guys pretty much went your own way. I went to the bar, I got something to eat, had a couple beers until Tyler started, and then I went and checked out the show.
You made a little appearance.
Yeah, no, I watched all of Tyler. Mm-hmm. I just and I was looking at the pictures that you guys had. I was on the exact opposite end of Kennedy, or side of Kennedy, I know. Mm-hmm. And I was just standing. I walked up the stairs, and I was standing on the railing, and no one told me to leave on the concourse. And I mean, I've said it before. I mean, he put on a great show. I mean, a single person on the stage and can have that many people just amped up is.
So then, as opposed to your experience going to 1975, where you're like a little bit overwhelmed. Now, how was your experience going to?
It was really good. All positive, honestly.
You're like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
I've done this before, right? You know, like it is and then you get to know, not get to know the people, but they're all there to have a really good time. Mm-hmm. You know, like we're like, oh, Daryl over here, Geek over here. They're all doing the same thing, and I'm doing.
It doesn't matter. We're all on the same team for one night.
Exactly.
Right?
We're just so.
His openers were also really good.
Yeah.
He had Kaliszewski, Vince Staples, which I missed a lot of his because I bought this shirt during that, which was a bit of a mistake.
So I actually went to my seat when I first got there, and I was in the highest level on the side, almost to the point where I just didn't even feel safe.
Yeah.
And so that's why I went and got something to eat and stuff, and just said, I'm going to check it out. And I'm glad I did. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I remember my very first concert, which was at the Palace. I mentioned this before, and Jason Hebert's mom drove us, but she sat in a quiet room where all the parents they would shove them in there, and they would just hang out there. So they wouldn't actually go to the show. They just sat and wait, brought their kids, and then when everything.
It's totally silent in that quiet room.
You're not talking.
Don't stop. You can't even hear the music.
And then, we came out, we found her, and so it was kind of like that, but I saw the show, which was really cool. Mm-hmm.
It was really good.
We didn't have too much trouble getting out of there, but if you remember...
You pulled some nice maneuvers in that parking garage.
So you're in a parking garage. I mean, you have to back out and just cut people off, so I'll never forget this lady's coming, right? And mind you, my car, yes, it was the 2016, but we still had cameras back then. So I can see in my back camera how close I'm backing up. I'm getting close. She's honking her horn, and she's got her little daughters, and I'm like, I'm not going to hit you. I'm just going to go so that I can go before the guy behind you, But so I'm still doing it. She's honking. And next thing, what did she do?
What did she do?
She opens up her door and gets out of the car and actually makes one step to my car.
Oh wow! I don't remember that.
Yes, and then that provoked me And I promptly told her to eat a dick. And then we got the hell out of there.
Her name was probably... Never sure did. Her name was probably Karen.
And then I look in the rearview mirror, and there's 3 of Avery's friends sitting back there. I'm like, oh, no. So, yeah, they saw Avery's dad be kind of... Well, you know what?
They better be using that expression.
You know what?
Fucking eat a dick, motherfucker. Right? Come on.
But I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're going to go to shows, you sure as hell better know how to get the hell out of them. You know?
And get through.
How did Kennedy do
there is a
getting
process.
She wasn't right next to us, and you know, just was able to. I mean, ideally you back in, but when you're pulling in, you can't do that either because you got so many cars behind you. Blah blah blah. But
yeah.
So that was February. That was very end of February, and then 2 weeks later, we actually went to Grand Rapids, which we mentioned a little bit earlier, was Greta Van Fleet, which I will announce it. You can see I'm wearing my Greta Van Fleet shirt. I believe we actually had Black Smoke Rising on the lead in from Greta Van Fleet. Well, Kenny and Avery, for Father's Day, got me a Greta Van Fleet ticket for LCA. So the 3 of us are going to be heading down there on Friday, September 8th.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
That was a really good show.
Oh, so this one at Deltaplex. So I saw them with Kennedy and one of her friends. We went to the Fox, which was super cool. I mean, it was like 2018, so I mean, they were still like 20, 21, or however old at that point. And really good show. But you could tell that they were young, you know, and then we saw them here, and it was like, oh my God, the maturity and the way they played and everything. And it was a bigger venue, but it was still super small.
It
and
really
I remember...
It was like a gym.
It was like a field house, like where they play basketball. And I remember, I actually wrote it down, and you're like, that was like the first real rock show you went to. But just truly, because even like Mom, you know, I'm super glad we all went because we all had a blast. But that's not really Emily's kind of music.
Sure.
Like an actual rock band, you know what I mean?
She's more like Alicia Keys.
Yeah, or some, even rap. I mean, hell, she's seen Lil Wayne like 3 or 4 times, and Drake and stuff like that. But, you know, like rock, she's like, yeah, I usually don't go to many rock shows. That was really good. And they're amazing. They're out of Michigan. And I can't wait to go to that show.
Yeah, it's
Avery,
gonna be
Little
good.
Caesars.
Have you heard any of the new Greta Van Fleet?
I
haven't either.
I haven't.
Curious.
I don't think, no.
I've heard some of it, and I know like their early stuff, a lot of people always say, oh, they're trying to be Led Zeppelin.
Right.
They're not trying to be Led Zeppelin, it's just how they sound. They're a rock band, and his voice is very unique. Well, then I started hearing like some of the newer stuff, and I'm like, man, it almost has hints of Rush. You know, a little bit to it. And I'm like, which I don't mind Rush. I like the new music, and like I said, I'm super excited. That was a cool gift. I definitely laid it on a little thick, but you guys picked up what I was laying down, so that was cool.
I've read I did not read the article, so I apologize in advance, but almost like their new stuff is like a little psychedelic, you know, getting, you know, like I guess maybe like the Beatles did, you know, where they had that.
Yeah.
And it goes
transition, not transition, but
reinventing and doing different things. You know, not the same thing, and that's
I haven't heard it,
but that goes back to like the growth with them,
right?
You know, because you literally started following them when they were damn near teenagers, so it's like seeing them. It's really amazing, and the beef from Frankenmuth, Michigan, is insane. Which shout out to Frankenmuth. So I'm going to bring it up now because that, you know, we have the upcoming shows. We'll get into that a little bit right now because that's going to be a big week for us.
Yeah.
And actually a couple of weeks. So I know you have a fantasy football draft on the 25th, but that's when we go to Lumineers. So that'll be the first time you actually see the Lumineers.
Yeah.
Like in live.
I wish I was there.
I know.
I wish I was there. It's not even here, but I wish I was there.
I know.
I love the Lumineers.
And we got a pretty good, solid crew going to that. But, I mean, they're great live, so that'll be cool for you to see them.
I don't listen to them a whole lot, but, like, I like obviously, like, their most popular songs. Like, I know. And they're good.
And, you know, they will, because since you drive with your mom and stuff sometimes, you will know at least 8 songs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, out of how 20 they play, you're going to know about half of them without even realizing it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just fun. You know, they really are.
Yeah.
They're a, you know, good fun band. That'll be the 4th time I'm going to see them, and it's like I'm trying to figure out, do I really like them that much?
right. Well, yeah.
You know, because I do. I really do like them.
Do I really like them that much?
But you know who does is Emily. You know,
well, that's fine.
so it's
that's
perfect.
Great.
I mean, so I go with her. We have a great time, and I mean, to me, they're a better live band than they are even recorded, and they're great recorded. You know, but to go and just be, it's one of those ones where you know you're going. It's just gonna be a nice, relaxed environment. Everyone's just having a great time, and you're gonna hear good music.
Oh, she's on top. Oh.
Then, so that's on August 25th. That's a Friday. So then, not even 2 weeks later, on Wednesday, the 3 of us with Kennedy are going to Smashing Pumpkins.
I'm
at
really
Pine
excited
Knob,
for that one.
September 6th. So
Oh, pumpkins.
Avery's never seen Smashing Pumpkins. Kennedy saw them for the first time in November when me and her went.
They're pretty good. Avery.
Yeah,
I know
it should be okay.
I know you've heard their music and everything.
Yeah. I've actually really been getting into it though recently.
Yeah.
Actually seeking it out, you know what I mean?
Good.
So
you should. And I mean, isn't that I don't know, the evolution, but that's what you do. You listen to music and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a really good band.
Mm-hmm.
And then you listen to bands that are like Smashing Pumpkins, and then oh my gosh, and then
It just snowballs.
yeah,
It's almost like you get in a wormhole.
these people are good too.
yeah.
So yeah, that's the first time you'll see them. It is. It'll be a great show. We have lawn. I would like to get as close as possible on lawn, but I mean, we'll see how all that goes. But I will say, you guys make sure you check out the newest Pumpkins music, which is a 3-album rock opera, 33 songs, and it's spelled ATUM. I believe it's autumn.
Okay.
But I don't know.
I would call it Atom.
I would think Adam. I don't know. Adam, Autumn, but it's really a lot. Some of it's really good, and it kind of takes you. For me, it's like different evolutions of the Pumpkins.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear kind of stuff almost Gish-like or Siamese Dream, but then you hear songs that remind you of a door. The one I played for you the other day, that Hooray, which is almost like a carnival-like.
Yeah, it was pretty funky.
But I almost put that with We Only Come Out at Night. You know, kind of that eerie, creepy kind of song, simple. That's what this one reminds me of. So, and I know when we saw them, even in May, and then when I saw them in November, they played at least probably 3 or 4 off of this new release. So yeah, we have that. Not even 2 weeks later, and then 2 days after that's when we're going to Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
I need to listen to their new album before.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend, definitely listen to Pumpkins. But, you've heard a lot of their stuff. And, it's one of those things, too, they're just, I'm obviously a super fan, but, musically, they're so good. So, even if you're not super familiar, just hearing some of the guitar and then watching Chamberlain in his cockpit and those drums. I don't think anyone has a bigger kit than he does. He's got 47 drums in it. But, musically, they are awesome. So that'll be fun. And it's us 3 with Kennedy. We'll see if anyone else shows. If not. But I think that's the one where we maybe just set up a table, get the mics going, and while we're tailgating and see what happens.
I saw an interesting thing on Howard Stern. He was interviewing Billy Corgan.
Yeah, last month or something.
Yeah, and he was talking about how Cherub Rock came to be, and it wasn't anything that he thought of, but he just got I think he said he was in a cab. Look it up, and he's like, or maybe he got a ride for somebody. And he's like, and he had this, in his head, he's like, and he kept doing it for the whole ride there, and then he's like, because he said he could not get this melody,
the chords or whatever
out of his head.
head.
He's like, this is gonna be a badass fucking tune, and
it was,
and he kept doing it it was like a 20-minute ride. He's like, I and then and then he goes, I went to there and he started recording it.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty amazing.
It's still one of my favorite songs.
Yeah,
and I know that is a verified on Two Dudes Part 1, the very original mixtape. It is on there for sure.
I'm no musician. I would love to be, but I just can't, like, how people make music. It's freaking amazing.
I could never.
I think about that constantly, like, just the process. I mean, just for, like, one person in the band to be able to make up their part of a song, and then the other person's like, "Oh yeah, I'm hearing that. What about this?" But and then these just guys, and all of a sudden it's like coming together. It's insane to me.
Yeah,
and
I mean that's
you're either kind of born with that brain or you're not. And I know some people are trained, and whether they're not born with it, but whatever. But I mean, it's like I am not born with that.
Yeah, no,
none.
Playing the recorder in 4th grade.
That proved me. There you go.
That was my peak.
In fact, like when you could either. I think you guys could choose either instrument or choir at one point, right? Well, for us, it was either instrument or library.
Library?
I picked the library.
So you just go and read books?
I would go in there and have to, like, read books and, like, do research in the encyclopedias and write a report. Like, I would rather do that than do an instrument. So,
and I've said this before, I have no instrumental qualities about me, but I was a choir student of the month in 7th grade.
I was going to say, I remember hearing that one time.
We've mentioned before. I mean, I do have a lovely singing voice.
I believe you asked Black Note Graffiti if they needed some backup vocalists.
Yep. Black Note Graffiti, I'm right here, bro.
You totally should have been their hype man at Up People.
Yeah.
Get the whole thing started.
Oh gosh, they would be like, God, we're
so. All right, so we got those 3 coming up, and then for me, actually 2 days later, I'm going with Uncle John Doring, episode 2, to go see Pearl Jam in Indiana. So I have like 4 concerts like in 15 days, which is only one more than you and Kennedy, which is kind of crazy, too. Because she's going to Lumineers as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to like.
Are you going to anything else? Or just, I mean, not anything else.
Kennedy's going to a lot.
Yeah, it seems like I know she's going to Arctic Monkeys. She's picked up some of these other ones with her friend, which ones I've never heard of. And I probably wouldn't go to those shows because I'm already, I'm the old man now, right?
Yeah.
But, so the other thing actually I want to talk about a little bit was, obviously we got the setup going, I love my pictures and everything else, and Kennedy got this poster right here, Run DMC. Oh, yeah. So me and you went to Comic-Con in Novi, Michigan, so Motor City Comic-Con. MC3, you guys know what I'm talking about now when I say MC3?
Yeah.
So
they all know now.
But one, I've never been to a Comic-Con, so I've always wanted to go. Kennedy went few years back.
With her friend.
She got pictures taken with Herschel from Walking Dead and Jesus from Walking Dead. And obviously, I kind of started my Funko Pop collection, so I'm like, I'll go check it out. And no one wanted to go. I remember Emily was going to go, unless Avery said he would. And then Avery went, which... I mean, I'm gonna put it on tape. I won't edit it out. I mean, which was for the best. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you know how it goes. Like, we would have been there for like 20 minutes, and Mom would have been like, "What the fuck are all these geeks doing?"
Yeah.
It
was really good.
But then I'd be like, "You know what? You actually married one of those geeks. So watch what you say." But no, so the story is, so we had this. Kennedy got me this poster about a week before Comic-Con. I think she was in Ann Arbor and saw it. So Run DMC and the Beastie Boys in Amsterdam during their Raising Hell European leg. And as I was going through, looking at all the celebrities that were going to be there.
Well, yeah, we just happened to run into them.
Absolutely. DMC was going to be there, but he wasn't going to be like the signing people. He was actually there for his comics because he actually has a comic book company now. DMC, Daryl Makes Comics, is it? And so I'm like, oh, awesome. I mean, I'd like to talk to him. I'm totally wearing my Two Dudes shirt while I go there, and I'm going to bring the poster. And I'm like an old man. I have no idea. I'm like, hey, Kennedy, am I allowed to take my own poster? She's like, well, of course. Like, all right, well. So, do you remember we walked in? And what was the first thing we saw?
Oh, the chef.
Yeah, the Swedish chef from the Muppets, which is my favorite Muppet character ever. Second is Beaker, close second. But we walk in, I go, Abe, you have to get my picture taken with the Swedish chef.
And boy, I took a lot of pictures.
Yes, you did. It was awesome.
Every one of them were awesome.
And then, I mean, I'm not shitting you. Just as we're getting done, and I'm all hyped up talking to Abe about the Swedish chef, DMC walks right 3 feet in front of me. I'm like, hey, DMC. He's like, hey, what's up? So I just start walking with him.
Just totally said, hey, what's up?
So he was like, actually, he had like where they scheduled photo ops. So he was doing that, and then he was on the way other end of the convention center in the comic book section with like a little 6-foot table. So I'm like, one, guy looks amazing. He looks better than he ever did.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to be pushing 60. And I can't even keep up with the guy. I leave Avery like
I was
way
so far
in the
behind.
back.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm walking, and we're talking, and super nice guy. We talked. I'm like, hey, I brought this poster. We talked about it, and everything else. And we had to have been walking for probably 3-4 minutes.
It was a long time.
We maybe were 2 minutes in. At that point, I believe I actually said, "Oh, by the way, this is my son." And then I think he like did a fist bump, and then we went right back into talking. And I told him about the podcast, of course, and I'll never forget. He's like, "Well, what was the last concert you saw?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, he just put me on the spot," But it was Jane's Addiction and Smashing Pumpkins, and he was like, "Oh my God, that must have been awesome." He goes, "I remember, back in the day, I did some stuff with Chris Cornell, and he named off all these people, and it was just really cool."
That is freaking dope, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
that happened 10 minutes after we got into the whole place. We could have left, but yeah.
Imagine us walking in with our mom and dad and seeing Lou Reed, like he is an icon. An absolute icon. Run DMC is one of the best.
It's the 50-year anniversary of hip hop. And he's one of the ambassadors at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
But you're gonna probably look at that in like 20 years and go, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I met DMC."
Yeah.
At Comic-Con, dude.
I didn't know who he was before that, to be completely honest.
Which is totally fine.
But you actually, like within seconds, you picked up on who he was. Once I beelined it and left you in my dust.
Yeah, well, you don't really do that with like random people. Right. So I felt like something was up.
This guy must be important.
Yeah. And then actually, you were actually walking next to like the dude that was with him.
His bodyguard? Yeah. And he kept like almost trampling me. This huge guy. We were just trying to keep up.
He was.
Both of us were trying to keep up.
I love it.
He was. That dude was probably like 6'6", big dude, but he was older. He's probably been around with him for a while.
Right.
And
why does this guy walk so fast?
And it was super cool, and not to be like one of those fanboys, and I think I composed myself pretty well with him. I don't think I was
like a conversation.
Yeah. And totally engaging, and it was one of those things like the second you tell when like they're done with you, you're like, okay, but he never was. We made it all the way to the table, and there was like a couple people already waiting for him, and then by the end though, I felt like there was this huge line. Yeah, he had this poster like laid out over his entire table, just like looking at it, and and figuring out what he wants to write on it and stuff, and all these people lining up.
Kept writing for so long.
Well, yeah, but it was super cool because the one thing I told him about the poster, I'm like, "Oh, it's you guys and the Beastie Boys." He's like, "Well, from when?" I go, "Well, it was '87 in Amsterdam." He's like, "Oh, I remember that tour." And I actually said, it's just a shame that two of the OGs are gone. We don't have them with us anymore because Jam Master Jay and MCA from Beasties. And then that's what he ended up writing. So DMC, Raising Hell Together Forever, JMJ, MCA, RIP. Because that's was
pretty sweet, dude.
Right.
That's freaking really sweet.
And it was so crazy how it all happened because literally Kennedy shows up with the poster a week before. I really wasn't planning on going. That was kind of like the day before. Like, I want to go, but how often do I say like, "Hey, I'm going to do this," and then okay, I'm going to sit at home. Right?
Yeah.
So and then the fact to see it all and happen the way it did, it was super sweet. And he was an absolute awesome guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, he was really nice.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
seemed pretty genuine.
Absolutely genuine. You know, with the whole engagement of it and everything. It was a lot of fun. And you know, just walked around, and I think we spent another hour and a half or so there. You know, just checked everything out. And
did you guys run back into the Swedish Chef or no?
No.
Yeah, that was actually a one-time thing.
No. I think he was super excited to meet the two dudes. You know, so he had fulfilled what he wanted to do, so I think he took off.
Going back to making meatballs, I bet.
Probably.
Smorgy.
But actually, I will say he had on, remember his apron? Mm-hmm. It said, "May the forks be with you." Because Comic-Con and Star Wars is so great. I haven't talked. Like, you're my favorite Muppet. You know, it's like some dude that just is probably high on meth or something. Like, what are you talking about, Muppet?
Yeah, there definitely had to be a unique person under that costume.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, dude, it was awesome. Dude, check it out on the socials. I mean, it's out there. You see me with him, and then you actually see me and Avery with DMC. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely going back next year.
Yeah,
you know, without a doubt, I'll go back to that every year now. I'm not so keen on meeting the people and getting their autographs. I think that's kind of weird.
I mean,
I got autographs, but you know what I mean. Like to just
but what he did for that's not weird at all.
Yeah,
that's freaking personal. And that's freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm. No, and actually, then he actually signed his comic, which was super cool. I love that too. It
was like cool to see some of the people that I knew like from afar away, but like I didn't really care to go up to talk to them.
Yeah, it feel weird.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't enjoy that if I were them.
I mean, we saw Doc from Back to the Future, Christopher Lloyd. Tony Danza was there.
Andrea from The Walking Dead.
Andrea from Walking Dead.
Merle.
Oh yeah, Merle from Walking Dead. T2, Terminator 2, Eddie Furlong, the kid. He was there. Obviously not a kid no more.
Yeah.
The one we missed was Will Poulter or whatever, which I wanted to see him because actually we're watching The Bear now and he's in that.
He is? Really? I haven't gotten to that part, I guess.
You're on second season. You need to get to episode 4, I think it is.
Yeah.
So, I think we're kind of getting to towards the end. We talked about some of the shows that we're going to go to. Is there anything else you guys got coming up as far as show-wise that's piquing your interest?
Upcoming. You guys all know that I love the National.
Yes. I saw it sold out.
Yeah, it's sold out at
Fillmore, I believe.
Fillmore, which is fine.
It's like August 7th or something?
Yeah.
It's in August. Birthday show.
It's a Monday night. Get out of here. My birthday's Friday. I'm going to be camping all weekend. I'm not going to make that. Whatever. But they did it last year, too. They have it called The Homecoming. The National The Homecoming. And they're from a band from Cincinnati. I don't know the dates, but gosh darn it, would I love to go see the National in Cincinnati. I think it's in September-ish, maybe October. We'll have to look that up. But that's the one show, and our buddy Keith, he's from Cincinnati. I would go to that show with him,
I would love to go see them. I've never seen them. I'm not a huge fan, but it's one of the, I've always said, if there's a band that you want to see, go see them. And that's one of those ones that I can check it off the list. I've seen them, and I think if I see them, I may want to see them more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Tremendous band. Yeah. I think you would too. I like the way you said that. You probably see them and they're like, oh my gosh.
There's somewhere you want to just check them off the list. I've done it, move on. I want to do something else. And then there's some like the Lumineers that apparently you go 2-4 times. They're like 4.5 years.
But you would want to see that.
No, absolutely.
So that's my upcoming.
So we actually just today, me and Neil picked up some tickets for a show right before we started recording, and we're going as of right now with John Shack, episode 7. We're going to see Porno for Pyros at the Fillmore in October 27th.
I can't wait.
It's a Friday night. It's at the Fillmore. Porno for Pyros haven't played together in like 25 years on tour.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, that's Perry Farrell's other band besides Jane's Addiction. And I believe it's him and I think the drummer from Jane's, Stephen Perkins, I believe. And then I think the other two, you know, are different. It's not Dave Navarro, and I forget the bassist's name, but I don't believe it's him either.
Doesn't matter as long as they play Ben Can't Steal That Once.
I don't know if they will.
What?
That's not a Porno for Pyros song.
Oh, what is it?
That's Jane's Addiction.
I thought that was a Porno for Pyros song.
That's Jane's.
No.
Mm-hmm. And then Porno for Pyros has like pets. We'll make great pets. We'll make
you
it.
know what? That's what I meant to say, boys.
That was what you were looking up? He golfed 18 today. Yeah. So the one that you mentioned, Neil, though, that's coming up in October, a classic. Who is it? I forget.
The Eagles?
Oh, that's right, the Eagles.
The mother effing Eagles? If you're not an Eagles fan, don't listen to music then. I mean, they're such a classic freaking...
I know. You're right. I'm not a huge Eagles fan, but you're right. They have so many classics. They're an iconic band. But I don't even know. Like, is it the entire group? I don't even see, because I don't even know who in the hell was in the. Was it Don Henley? Was he an Eagle? Or was it Randall Cunningham? I don't remember.
Wasn't there like
Randall Cunningham was a Philadelphia Eagle.
I think there's maybe 2 left of the Eagles.
Okay.
Was Glenn Fry an Eagle?
Glenn Fry and Don Henley were in the Eagles together, right? Okay.
But I would love to see the Eagles. Whether it's overproduced and whatever, I would love to go see them, you know? Like,
yeah.
I guarantee they don't have the voices. I get it, but I love the Eagles.
Yeah.
What do they sing again?
It's Hotel California.
Hotel California.
Right.
Such a lovely place. Such a lovely face.
Nice.
That lady
That
that fits in the tantrums was so much louder than that. You got it hard snap.
You were talking about claps, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see the Eagles. But
yeah, you know, the one I actually wrote down was Kells, which
R. Kelly?
No.
Oh my God. Okay.
You're gonna go see him in prison.
No, Kells, which is a band. It's a, you know, not a well-known band, but they're at the Fillmore. They got a couple cool songs, and just going to that venue is always fun. And actually, it'll be over by the time we actually drop this. But Beyonce's playing next week at Ford Field.
That's fun.
And I don't remember the last time she was on tour, but that, you know, people are going nuts for that.
Yeah.
You know, between that and Taylor Swift,
Beyonce?
Mm-hmm. On the 26th.
What about you, Avery? You got anything on your docket?
Nothing besides what we already talked about.
Okay.
Yeah. And, I mean, I think we covered quite a bit. But, one, I'm totally looking forward to these shows that are coming up, you know.
It's going to be fun.
Oh, my God. It's going to be amazing. So we got Lumineers, Pumpkins, Greta Van Fleet coming up. That'll be a special one. Just me and Candy going to that. That'll be sweet. So, obviously, we're here at the end. Avery, it's been fun having you on. I think you did a great job. You did a great job, by the way.
I did try.
You know,
Avery, you did fucking great.
Yeah, you did awesome.
Thank you.
Neil, you know, shit, we only got 2 more guests coming before the end of the season. You know, so that'll be Avery. I mean, we're going to drop yours on...
Step Brother.
Yep. Avery's is going to be episode 10. That's going to come out on... What is that? August 1st. Then we're going to have, Keith Newick. We're going to have some interesting stories from him.
I can't wait. It'll be fun.
It'll be a good take on music, different from what we've kind of had on so far. And then I think we're going to ride it out with Jason Hebert at the end. So those will come out on the 15th and 29th respectively. And then we're going to do our kind of season 1 wrap episode. That'll come out on September 13th, and then we're going to be on a little bit of a hiatus till the first of the year. So, but until then, we're going to keep kicking ass in Clarkston, without a doubt. It's been fun. I tell you what, make sure to check us out on the socials. Make sure you get to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Tell you what, if you're the 100th subscriber, who knows, you might get a t-shirt. Can't guarantee anything though, because supply's running low. Everyone wants one, you know.
Yeah.
We started out with like 5 of them, and they're gone almost. So, all right, but no.
Gone almost.
Neil, great job again. Abe, it's been awesome having you on. We're gonna hit these shows, and you know what? We'll probably have you back on again, you know, before too long.
Great.
All right, peace out, everyone.